James Bond. James Bond.
Your reputation precedes you. This way, please.
Stay in there, good night. We've got you spotted.
The secret of success, Mr. Bond. Never take chances.
What's going on out there in YouTube land and subsequent social media lands? Welcome to an all-new video. So this is a new movie review in my James Bond review-a-thon. This is the 9th film in the series that we'll be reviewing today, and is another comedy classic, I like to call it. So we're going to go right into that. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on this video or any of the other videos I put up. And as always, people, if you like this content, definitely check out my other social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. Definitely check those out, people, especially if you love this content. And as always, let's get right into this. Welcome one and all to an all-new movie review. So like I was saying before, we're going to be reviewing the 9th James Bond film in my James Bond-a-thon here that I've been doing for the last couple months now. And this was just a really fun film. I really enjoyed watching it, and I thought that it was another great addition to the James Bond series. Now, the film I'm talking about happens to be the James Bond film called The Man with the Golden Gun. Oh yeah, The Man with the Golden Gun. Ooh. So this movie had a great all-star cast. It was so beautifully directed once again. And I just love how campy and comedy-oriented this one was too as well. Because I think that the comedy really brings a lot of great light to the James Bond films. It gives it a lot of great, just funny and silly moments that just add to the great entertainment value that the James Bond films are. Now, this one happens to be directed by another long-time James Bond director, Mr. Guy Hamilton. Oh yeah, Guy Hamilton. Whoa, Guy Hamilton. Whoa. Absolutely love Guy Hamilton. I think he was a great director. He was really awesome. He really directed some really well done films, and he really brought a great class to him as well. Now, a couple films that he's directed, one I've seen, one I have not, but I am very familiar with, because I've seen trailers, I've read stories about it, and it's just an interesting French film. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is another James Bond film that I think is one of his best outings in the James Bond films, and that, of course, is a film called Goldfinger. Oh yeah, Goldfinger. Ooh. Goldfinger was like the first James Bond film I saw that I really, really enjoyed. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really well directed by Guy. I thought he did a great job bringing in some great action sequences that were so much better than the previous films that were James Bond films. And he also brought a great, like that comedic timing and acting to it, too, as well. He gave it a little camp, which made it so much more fun. Because, back in the 70s, camp was amazing for films, and it made it very entertaining. And that's why I think he brought that to the James Bond films, to give them a little fun, to make them not so as serious, and to give them a little bit of more, definition to them, versus just being a action thriller film that sometimes could be slow and boring, but at the same time, that's what Goldfinger was. It was one of the first really amazing, just hands down, James Bond films. He directed it so beautifully, and, just how well Sean Connery was in it, and just everyone that was involved with it just made it a really fantastic film. If you're a Guy Hamilton fan or haven't seen anything of Guy Hamilton, definitely check out Goldfinger for his performance as a director. He did an amazing job directing it. So the second film that Guy Hamilton directed that, like I said again, I haven't seen it, but I have read a lot about it. I've seen trailers, I've seen documentaries on it, and it just seems like a really interesting French film. But over here in America, it actually has a completely different name, which is called This Is Not Me. That's right, This Is Not Me. So this film, like I was saying, is different than anything else I've read or basically have seen trailers for. Like I said, this is like a thriller comedy type of film. But from what I saw in the trailer, what I've read, Guy Hamilton did a really good job of bringing to life this, story in this film. He gave some really great action sequences in it and gave a really great screenplay that really had very entertaining points throughout the whole film. From the comedy style to the rom-com element to it, to the thriller aspect, all of it was very well encompassed and just was a really well done film. It was actually the last film he directed, which came out in 1989. So definitely, if you're a Guy Hamilton fan, or if you haven't seen anything of his either, or want to know a little bit more about him, definitely check out this film because it looks like it's a pretty good film, and I definitely will be checking it out soon in the future. So when it comes to directing The Man with the Golden Gun, I thought Guy did an amazing job once again. He brought to life a great film with a great script, had a lot of great comedy elements to it, but along the same time it had the great James Bond-isms throughout the film, from, Roger Moore mentioning, I'm James Bond, to, just the great title sequence and the great music, dun 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 dun, and just all around just made a really fantastic film. It had really great choreography in it for the fight sequences. It just had a really great story too that kept me entertained the whole time watching it. And almost had a Fantasy Island vibe to it too a little bit, especially with Her Velichez in the film as well. So I just thought he directed it very well, gave us a really fun film, very campy, very, not your traditional James Bond, but still just a really well done film, I thought. And I thought Guy did a great job of directing it. So like I was saying before, this has a really great cast. I mean, besides Her Velichez, who we all know is Tattoo from Fantasy Island with Ricardo Montalban, to, several other cameos he had over the years, to this great cast, though, that's in it. It's just an amazing cast of great actors and actresses, and just a really well-rounded cast, I thought. And I thought each person was a perfect choice for the characters and roles they played in the film. Now, of course, to start us off is James Bond himself, Mr. Roger Moore. Oh yeah, Roger Moore. Ooh, Roger Moore. Oh, I love Roger Moore as James Bond. From his first outing in Live and Let Die, I just knew that he was going to be an amazing James Bond. And like I said in the past, I've seen Moonraker before. I've seen Octopussy before, which it's going to be fun to rewatch those because it's been so long. He just, I thought, was ultimate James Bond to me. He's always been my favorite James Bond, and I just thought he's always done a great job as James Bond. Now, a couple films I really enjoyed him in that I don't think a lot of people realize he's in either. You might not, I don't know. So this is maybe new for you, or it's something you might have heard before. Now, the first film is a great 1995 film that I think is just a really great, comic film / kind of band film that is just really super hilarious and just goofy, but at the same time has some really great class and great actors and actresses involved with it. And then, of course, the film called Spice World. Oh yeah, Spice World. Oh yeah, I think this is an ultimate classic film. I think it's gotten a huge fan base over the years since it came out. And Roger Moore actually plays kind of like an interesting character in the film that is just on point hilarity. And I thought that he was so funny in it, so just on point. It was a great choice for the role, and just really brought a great comic timing and comic performance to the film. That already the film itself was just a big goofball type of film, but he just brought a great class to that goofiness too as well. I thought it was a really fun performance. I loved him in it, and I thought he should get more recognition for it. So if you haven't seen Spice World, definitely give it a whirl, people. Roger Moore is awesome in it, and is just really fun in the film. Now, the second film he was in is a 2002 comedy film as well. That is another one that's not the greatest film, but it has some great comic and comedic moments throughout the film, and with a decent cast. And then, of course, is a film called Boat Trip. Oh yeah, Boat Trip. Ooh, so this is a Cuba Gooding Jr. led film, and Roger Moore has not a huge part in it, but a pretty substantial part that is pretty on point hilarity. And I just thought it was super funny and hilarious, his performance in the film, and I thought he was a great addition to Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character. And just everything he did in the film was just like super funny, because he would all of a sudden just kind of pop up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden start spouting something, and you're just like, kind of like at the same time, like, why is he just popping up like that? But then at the same time, whatever he's saying, you're just laughing at, because it was so, like, written so well and funny, and his presentation was just really good. Super funny performance by Roger Moore. And if you haven't seen Boat Trip for his performance, definitely give it a roll, people. It's worth the watch. Now, it comes to him playing James Bond again, and the second outing for him as James Bond. I really enjoyed it. I thought he was really good. I love that he had a little bit more of a campiness to him this time. I like how he had a little bit more comic timing to himself. And I just still thought he was James Bond, and he was fun. I loved every scene he was in. I loved how he interacted with everyone, and I thought he just played a badass James Bond. And he just was really cool and fun. Just really enjoyable. I thought he was great as James Bond. I thought he did a great job in The Man with the Golden Gun and with everyone else he worked with in the film. I thought it was a really well-rounded performance and good timing and good acting by Roger. So that brings me to the second person I like to talk about that was in this film. And that, of course, is the James Bond girl herself in the film, Miss Britt Eklund. Oh yeah, Britt Eklund, yeah! So Britt Eklund was considered a huge sex symbol back in the 70s and even in the 60s. I know today she might even still be considered sort of a sex symbol. I mean, she doesn't look too bad these days. I mean, she's looking pretty good still, but nowhere as good as she did back in that time frame. But at the same time, she just is an interesting actress, and definitely, you know, another Swedish actress that seems to be, I feel, like the mainstay for a lot of the James Bond films. They always pick these Swedish actresses. And Britt, I just thought, was interesting in the film. I thought she was different. I thought she was different than the other James Bonds. And I know that she's gotten a lot of beef for her performance in the film. Like, she was too comedic. She wasn't too serious, and she wasn't that great. But I thought her performance was actually pretty decent in the film. And I actually enjoyed her performance as the character she was, because I thought she brought some great kind of, like, one-liners that really bounced off of Roger Moore really well. And they just worked really well together. Now, a couple of films that she's been in that I think are pretty decent acting jobs by her that, you know, she did a pretty good, decent, and amazing job. Now, the first film is a 1973 film that also Christopher Lee starred in. And that, of course, is a film called The Wicker Man. Oh, yeah, The Wicker Man. Oh, yeah. The Wicker Man. This movie was really interesting. But at the same time, I thought it was a horrible film. I absolutely hated this film. But I thought Britt Eklund wasn't too bad in the film. She actually did a pretty decent job. She was one of the things that kept me involved and entertained in watching the film, along with Christopher Lee, of course. But at the same time, I thought that she was different and better than most of the gals that were in the film. And I thought that she just did a really good job at playing the character she was playing, and I thought she worked really well off of Christopher Lee in the film. And I think she should get more credit for what a decent role it was. Definitely, if you're a Britt Eklund fan or you haven't seen The Wicker Man yet, definitely give it a whirl just to check it out. I don't highly recommend it, but at the same time, still, definitely, everyone should definitely check it out just to see what it's all about, and for Britt Eklund's performance. So the second film that Britt Eklund was in that I thought was a pretty decent film is a 1971 film starring Michael Caine, which also got a subsequent re-release and a remake of it in the 2000s as well. And that, of course, the film called Get Carter. Oh yeah, Get Carter. Ooh, Get Carter. So, Michael Caine plays the character Carter in the film, and Britt Eklund plays kind of like his main love interest in the film. And I thought she was really decent in the film. I liked her as the main love interest. I liked how she presented herself, and I thought that she did a lot more than just be a pretty face in the film. Because a lot of times I felt back in the 70s, unfortunately, and in subsequent films like that, if a person was known for being beautiful and sexy and a goddess, whatever, a lot of the times they play kind of a dumb blonde kind of character. But this time around, I don't think Britt Eklund played that type. She actually had a little more seriousness to her, along with a little bit of comedy. And I just thought that she did a really decent job of portraying that character, and gave us a really decent characterization that I feel that should get more credit for how fun of a role it was and how well done of a role it was. If you haven't seen Get Carter, definitely check it out for Britt Eklund. She was actually really good in it. I thought she worked really well with Michael Caine in the film and played a really good, second main character in the film. Now, like I was saying before, I thought she did a great job in The Man with the Golden Gun. I thought she was on point. I loved how campy and comedy she was. I liked she wasn't super serious throughout the whole film. And like I said, with this film, the campiness was on point, amazing to me. I absolutely loved that part of it, and I thought that Britt did a great job of bringing that to the film, along with Roger Moore and Christopher Lee and Herb Valches and all the other characters that were in the film. It was all really well composed and put together, and just was a really fun performance. If you're a Britt Eklund, definitely check out this James Bond film for her performance. She was actually really fun in it. So that brings me to the final actor I'll be talking about that's in this film. And that, of course, is the main villain himself, Mr. Christopher Lee! Oh yeah! Christopher Lee! Oh my god, Christopher Lee! Oh, hands down, Christopher Lee was one amazing actor. Absolutely loved him. He was so fantastic. I was so sad when he passed away in 2015 at 93. And he just was so amazing. Everything he did do, he did from playing Saruman in Lord of the Rings to playing Dooku in the Star Wars prequels to just anything he was in. He was always on point, amazing, and I always enjoyed him. Even as Dracula, he was so amazing too as well. I mean, he did so many Dracula films in the 70s and 60s, and he just was so awesome. Now, a couple of films I really enjoyed that he's done were a couple comedy films. One's more of a family comedy film, where the other one is definitely comedy. Now, the first one I want to talk about is a 1990 sequel to a 1984 film that was just really on point perfection and a great sequel. And that, of course, the film is Gremlins 2, The New Batch. Oh yeah, Gremlins 2. Ooh, I absolutely love this film, and Christopher Lee, I love so much as the mad scientist guy in this film. He was so stinking awesome and amazing. Even though it wasn't a super huge part, he still had a very substantial role that was very entertaining, and just really brought that great Christopher Lee-isms he always brought to his characters. And just some of his reactions and some of his dialogue when things are going wrong, he's just like so perfect and on point with his presentation and delivery. And just, it's so super funny, and I absolutely just loved it. I thought he was really fantastic in the film. If you haven't seen Gremlins 2, definitely check it out, people, especially for Christopher Lee's performance. And just for a great film, definitely check it out too, people. It's a great film. Now, the second film that Christopher Lee was in that I really enjoyed is a 1996 film that is one that I don't think gets enough credit for how great of a film it was. It was so well written, so well directed, so well filmed and acted and all, and I just think it's a really great, just comedic film, and just with great comedy elements to it. And then, of course, the film called The Stupids. Oh yeah, The Stupids. Ooh, I'm Stanley Stupid. Oh my god, this movie is on point, so super funny. From the great cast, from, the amazing Bug Hall to, everyone that was involved with the film. John Landis was involved with the film. He made the movie just like any of his other films. Tom Arnold's super hilarious in it. You even have Captain Kangaroo that pops up in it. Oh my god. Great, great cast. Such a great film. But Christopher Lee actually plays kind of a character in it that is fake in the film, named Evil Sender. And he is absolutely on point, Christopher Lee, in the film. And he's so awesome. I absolutely loved him as a character. And just some of the scenes that he's like his, that Christopher Lee, voice and everything. Did you get the drive B? It just like was on point, like kind of like his characterizations in Dracula, in the Dracula movies he did, and just anything he performed was so stinking hilarious. absolutely loved it. If you haven't seen The Stupids, you haven't lived, definitely check it out, people. It's worth the watch. Amazing comedy film, and Christopher Lee was so dynamic in it. When it comes to his performance as the main villain of Scarmanger and The Man with the Golden Gun, he was so awesome. I loved him in it. I thought he was really good. I thought his presentation, his delivery, his lines were so well thought out and played and, filmed. And just, I thought he played a really great villain that added to the film and made it even better. And he just really brought to life this character and given us this Man with a Golden Gun character that worked so well against, James Bond and against Britt Eklund's character and so forth. It just worked really well together. It's a great performance by Christopher Lee. If you haven't seen this James Bond film, definitely check it out for Christopher Lee's performance. He was on point perfection. So what is The Man with a Golden Gun about? Basically, this time around, James Bond has to try to save the world from this evil bad guy that is trying to take it over with chemicals. And, because at the time in the 70s, chemical warfare was a big thing, they introduced that into the James Bond series and kind of made the premise of the film. And basically, James Bond has to go and save the world from this guy, stop him, and basically it's about everything that he encounters while trying to do that and to stop Christopher Lee's character from taking over the world. It's a really fun James Bond film, like I said. It is that super campy and kind of, goofy and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's so well done with lots of great action, lots of great lines, and a great plot. And just a really well-rounded film. I give this giant 10 golden movie boxes up. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was one of the best or better James Bond films. I definitely put it up there with Goldfinger for me, and Live or Let Die, and the other James Bond films like Diamonds Are Forever and stuff like that. I think it's top-notch like that, and definitely it's higher up on my James Bond ranking list. Such a great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, people. It's worth the watch. So that's it for this movie review, guys. Always thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, thank you for being a subscriber. And if this is your first time here, or you have been here before, don't forget to check out any of the older or newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. As always, people, check out my awesome links down below. Especially if you want to show a guy support, that, you love or enjoy their content, definitely check out those links down below, especially for either my Patreon page or my TeePublic stage, where you can get cool merchandise that you might enjoy wearing or having as an accessory. You never know. And also, what wouldn't you like better than to see bloopers and outtakes and stuff like that on my Patreon page? Definitely check that out too, people. It's really cool. As always, I'll catch you in the next one.